Today we are going to discuss a topic about digital integrity and employee. Before that, let me introduce my group member, YVONNE, LIANG, Hui MAISARAH, and I, W. Both of us will discuss and debate the pros and cons of such an approach to determine the integrity of a prospective employee. Based on the Cambridge Dictionary and Barbara in 2010, integrity is the practice of being honest and showing a consistent to strong moral value and ethical principle. So, what is digital integrity? Digital integrity is the goodwill and the moral of a person in a digital community or a virtual social network. Integrity is very important to us, as in workplace, the workers also need to demonstrate good moral value like honest and trustworthy for a citizen who is need to cognizant and respectful of the social and cultural diversities between each and other for the common good. And all of this can be shown in our digital social life. Before we go to discuss about the pros and cons of using digital integrity to value the perspective of an employee, it is a must and important for us to further understanding the development and connection between digital integrity and the community. Today, our digital assistant does not depend anymore on our action alone. We witness the images of our generation that have a digital existence before they are actually born. As you can see, sharing ultrasound pictures of unborn babies is now a trend. Even if we are not registered on a social network, the mere fact that our friends are using one makes it most probably aware of our existence. Just like the classmate photo in a Facebook or a gathering video in the Instagram story. Whether we like it or not, a part of our life is digital. Therefore, the state of oneself in integrity and good behavior, moral and ethical standards that may be gauged through one's digital assistant and also the interaction with other digital communities. This is a new prospect that gradually been deployed and by recruitment agencies to factor in one's employability. And I think this action bring benefit that ensure the reputation of the employer. As we can see from the section 14 of the Employment Act 1955, if you put the company reputation at the stake, you can be fired. This shows that company reputation is very important in corporate field. And we can see that employee is the part of the company brand. Thus, online and offline presence should reflect the company conduct. So if you have a negative actions or views shown in digital social network, which means that your action is exposed to public on the same time, you may affect the public views on your company. In 2019, an intern of Tencent Corporate was reported on the digital community that she was involved in a cat abuse cases. So in order to prevent the negative impact of society on the company, Tencent Corporate decided to fire her. So we can see that integrity or moral value is very important for a person no matter in real life, workplace, or in digital community. Hence, through observation on social media, the company can evaluate a person's integrity more comprehensively.
Alright, so yes, my name is Hui. I partially agree with your point, which is employee is part of the company brand, and therefore their online or offline presence should reflect the company conduct or the image of the company. But in my point of view, using digital integrity, such approach to determine the integrity of the prospective employee might bring some disadvantage too. So one of the disadvantage is it might restrict or constrain our freedom of public opinion. This is due to the reason that prospective employee may worry about their digital assistants or their interactions with other digital communities will affect their employability. So they are trying to limit their digital assistants and digital interactions. So for example, in this modern high technology world, we often share our view, our unique perspective of different social issues like religions, politicals, and ethical issues, or other moral issues such as human rights, justice, and democracy on social media. However, not everyone will agree with your perspective and understand your opinion. Employer might perceive you as a person who is not cognizant and respectful enough of the ideological, social, and cultural diversities among the co-worker at the workplace. In addition, employers might also perceive you are not trustworthy and reliable, and therefore, it will affect you might be considered as a low integrity person, and this affect your employability. So, in order to avoid the condition where the employer question our integrity, we always carefully show our digital assistance and our interactions with other digital communities, like reserve our opinion about an issue. So therefore, it could be said that this constrain our freedom of public opinion. So bring back to why integrity will affect our employability. Is it integrity important at the workplace, or it is one of the criteria for the employer to select the potential employee? So from here, we should always understand that and put in mind that integrity is one of the fundamental value that employers seek in the employees that they want to hire. It is the hallmark of a person who demonstrates moral and ethical principle at work. Employability will become lower if the prospective employee did not possess a good state of good behavior, integrity, moral, and ethical standards. So I think, in my point of view, I think that personal life and online life should be separated. If not, there will be no freedom to add what we want to do. So, do you agree with me, Simon? What is your point?
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
All right, regarding the point that Huyen said, I don't really agree about it all, but I do agree that on a certain level that it will have some restriction on our professional and personal life. So I think that for the company, in order to operate this way, it must have a certain way of guideline. So for example, in our real life interview, that we should be non-sectarian, non-religious, or non-cultural bias. So for example, I cannot say that Malays are not suitable for this work, even in real life itself. So I think it's the same for digital integrity. So there must be a certain guideline where we judge what you do online as whether it is employable by our company. So for example, let's say I think that's a very significant case when we present during our first presentation in class, in which that when a person went for an interview, he posted online that he says that he wanted to smoke weed. And then is there any way of getting the substance out of his body before the interview? So the interviewer saw this and directly just dismissed or disqualified him from the interview. So I think that's a very good case study of when the employee posted something that is, as you just said, that is not good for the company branding, or at least it affects his productivity, or at least there's problem with his conduct. So that is a good way for us, at least for human resources or the recruiter, to know that whether an employee is suitable for the company or not. Yeah, so that's the first point. The second point I want to make is that sometimes I think it is good to have digital integrity, because that we are often judged not by our Facebook or Instagram, but by social media called LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, you can basically post your resume. You can post what you have achieved in the past, what is your experience, what is your educations. So through that, that is actually a social media for professional job seekers or professional employer. So it actually has a niche of LinkedIn has a niche of being a social media for the business world. So I think one of the guidelines that companies should use is that how you judge your employee based on what social media they use. So that's a very good idea, because that I think each of the social media has a different niche. So that's the second point. The third point is that I think that because in the future world, we are all data driven. So basically, we use data to justify whether we employ an employee or not, or we use data to justify whether we are suitable for the company or not. So throughout all these social media or digital integrity is actually a way for us to prove that we are suitable for the company. So for example, if you are in LinkedIn and then you have 500 connections, and then you have different followers, and you get, let's say you post one article and then it gets like 2,000 reply. from all the business professionals. So you can actually use that data to prove to your employer or your recruiter to say that I have these kind of connections. So digital integrity, it can be also a way of personal branding, and you know, in operation sense, it also makes sense because of when an HR trying to determine job satisfaction, it can use like questionnaire, but then research shows that the questionnaire doesn't really reflect what the employee thinks, because the employee might lie on the questionnaire. But whatever complaint that you put on your digital media, HR can actually use it to diagnose the problem and see whether it is the company's fault or what they can do about it. So I think that's my 3 points. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is YVONNE. So, thank you, Simon. I think I can see your point, but there must be some things that are being ignored too. So with this, I will start my argument. So first of all, I highly disagree with digital integrity. So like Huyen said, digital integrity can be a disadvantage and restriction to people's opinion. So in other words can be twisted if not understood fully using this platform. Other than that, we can look a little bit deeper into this because I believe nowadays we all know that people love exposing others in this social platform. It's called the cancel culture movement, which literally means people are canceling others when they are exposed about their old wrongdoings or crimes they did a long time ago. You can learn more on the internet about this whole thing. So this whole thing is about searching you deep down in your old social media, whether in Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. This would be bad for employees or interns who want to work at their chosen or dream jobs because the employer will for sure add a history first via online. So people need to understand that their past life does not determine anyone in the future. I am talking about an ex-convict, ex-drug user, or an ex-juvenile. Companies are often wary of taking on people with criminal records, but a range and employers have a negative picture of what they think of as an ex-offender. So Kementerian Belia Sukan, which is KBS, which was handled by our former Youth Sports Minister, Syed Sadiq, have collaborated with Jabatan Penjara and launched a project called Reben Kuning. The project is mainly to give a second chance for the ex-convicts. He believed in giving second chances to these kinds of people because they are more skilled as they improvise while in prison. He even employed 2 ex-convicts in his office to work with him. This just shows how it is absolutely safe and okay to work with them, while it is unsure for them to be employed when only judged by their past life via online or their past doings. Thank you so much.
Different point of view. So what I can conclude from that is integrity is the practice of being honest and showing a consistent to strong moral and ethical principle. So, in my opinion, to be someone with high integrity is very hard to achieve. But with a good understanding about our surroundings, current issues, with a portrayal of good personality, and by improving our soft skills, it might help us to becoming one. So, as a human being too, we should have high integrity so that we can make good impression to employers when we are hired in the future. So that's all from me. Thank you.